The 2026 Subaru Outback doesn't just look tougher, it finally is tougher. Subaru ditched the whole wagon trying to be an SUV thing and went full adventure mode this time. Boxier body, higher stance, and that legit SUV presence that'll make you double take when you see it roll by. What's good, guys? This is Luke from CarLandTV, and today we're checking out the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback, the one that finally grew up and stopped pretending it's just a lifted wagon. But first, do me a quick favor, tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now let's get back into it. Subaru finally did it. I've been around Outbacks long enough to remember when they were basically a legacy on hiking boots. This 2026 model hits different. Subaru reshaped it into a legit SUV profile with a boxier body, taller stance, and tougher proportions. It still rides on standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, so the all-weather grip you expect is there, but the vibe is no longer lifted wagon. It looks like it belongs next to mid-size SUVs on the lot, not tucked in the wagon corner. That's the first big signal Subaru's sending. Context matters. Since 1995, Subaru has moved over 3 million Outbacks, so they didn't flip the formula on a whim. They're reading the market. Buyers have been treating the Outback like an SUV for years, taking it to trailheads, snow country, and road trips with bikes on the roof. Subaru finally lined up the sheet metal with how owners actually use it. The square shoulders, chunkier cladding, and more upright glass make it easier to load gear and give it the presence shoppers cross-shopping Jeep or Honda expect. One more thing I clocked right away. Subaru axed the base trim and made premium the entry point. That tells me they're pushing the lineup a step up in perceived quality and standard kit. The new starting price reflects that shift, but it also means fewer stripped models on the road and more buyers stepping into better spec from day one. If the mission was to graduate Outback from wagon energy to real SUV territory, this is the clearest move yet. The price bump nobody missed. Let's talk numbers because that's where folks get heated. Subaru pulled the base trim off the board, so the 2026 lineup now starts at the premium. The sticker on that is about $36,445. Versus last year's cheapest 2025 Outback, you're looking at roughly $5,000 more to get in. If I line it up apples to apples, premium to premium, the jump is closer to $2,000 year over year. So yeah, price went north, but part of that shock is the missing bargain entry model. AWD is still standard, so you're not paying extra just to get 4-driven wheels. That stays a Subaru thing. Trim walk matters too. Wilderness now rings in around $46,400, which is a $3,300 bump compared to 2025. That's the off-road flavored one, so expect the usual tougher tuning and kit to carry the price. On the top end, Touring XT sits around $49,400. When I map those against the segment, the value story still holds, even with the bump. Not perfect, but fair. Here's where it gets spicy. A Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with all-wheel drive starts at about $40,800. That's roughly $4,380 more than the Outback Premium. Even if you strip the Jeep to rear drive, the price gap is still around $2,400, and you just lost 2 driven wheels to the Subi. Climb to Jeep's Summit Reserve 4-wheel drive, and you're staring at about $64,800. That's roughly 15 grand over an Outback Touring XT. Different animals, sure, but shoppers cross-shop on price every day. Same vibe with Honda. The 2026 Passport RTL is about $46,200. That's roughly $9,755 over the Outback Premium. Step to the Passport Trail Sport Elite Blackout at about $55,100, and you're still paying around $5,650 more than a Touring XT. So yeah, the Outback's pricier than it was. Against the mid-size 2-row field, it still undercuts the heavy hitters. Value play stays intact. From soft wagon to boxy bruiser. When I walk around the 2026 Outback, the first thing that hits me is the stance. Subaru went boxy, squared the shoulders, and tightened up the line so it reads like a mid-size SUV from every angle. The hood looks flatter, the fenders have real definition, and the greenhouse sits more upright, so the profile doesn't give wagon energy anymore. It looks confident in a parking lot full of 2-row SUVs, which is exactly where shoppers are comparing it. Bet a lot of folks won't clock that change until they see it in person. Functionally, that shape matters. The taller, more upright tail makes loading gear cleaner, and the squarer rear opening is friendlier for coolers, camping bins, and the family dog. The front and rear overhangs look tidier, so you're less likely to scrape when pulling into angled driveways or trailhead lots. Subaru kept symmetrical all-wheel drive standard across the lineup, so the visuals match the use case. Snow days, muddy weekends, gravel roads to a cabin, the hardware, and the packaging line up. I also pay attention to how the cabin benefits when the exterior goes more SUV. More upright glass usually means better sightlines, less neck craning over the hood, and a more open feel up front. The Boxier roofline helps rear headroom and makes it easier to stack bulky stuff behind the second row. Families notice that on day one. Weekend warriors feel it every time they toss in bikes or a folded tent. No cap. Utility like this is why people kept buying Outbacks for decades. The wilderness trim leans into the look with an off-road focus and a higher price this year, which tracks with the tougher theme across the lineup. Even the mainstream trims give off that ready-to-go vibe now. The whole package finally matches how owners actually treat these things. Daily driver during the week, trail chaser on Saturday, road trip mule on Sunday. Subaru aimed the sheet metal at that reality and stuck the landing. The design upgrade isn't noise or garnish. It fixes the identity and puts the Outback right where shoppers expect it to be. The Boxer still rumbles. Powertrain time, because this is where folks either nod yes or swipe away. The 2026 Outback gives you two setups. The standard 2.5-liter Boxer 4 is rated at 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. For daily runs, school drop-offs, and highway cruising, it gets the job done, especially with all-wheel drive standard across every trim. If you want more punch, the upgrade is the 2.4-liter Turbo Boxer with 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet. That torque number is the play for passing on a two-lane or merging with heavy bikes and a cooler Outback. No cap, the Turbo is the one I'd pick if you carry people in gear often. Now stack it against the usual suspects. Jeep's Grand Cherokee brings a 3.6-liter V6 at 293 horsepower and 260 pound-feet. Honda's Passport runs a 3.5-liter V6 at 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet. So yeah, both of those beat the base Subaru on pure horsepower. Versus the Turbo Outback, Jeep still has the top horsepower number, but the Subaru counters with more torque than both, which you feel at realistic speeds. Different flavors, different priorities. Towing is where the Subaru gives up ground. The Outback is rated to pull up to 3,500 pounds. The Passport is rated up to 5,000 pounds. The Grand Cherokee goes harder at 6,200 pounds. If you're hauling a bigger boat or a heavier trailer, those V6 trucks make more sense. If your life is small, campers, dirt bikes, a pair of kayaks, and a cargo box, the Subaru rating covers it and keeps the package lighter and cheaper to run. Grip matters when the weather turns, and this is where Subaru holds serve. All-wheel drive is baked in from the base premium all the way up, so you don't have to pay extra just to get four-driven wheels. That's a big reason people stay loyal to this badge. Bet a lot of owners live exactly at that intersection of traction, torque, and price. Interior, space, and everyday use. Inside, the vibe is simple. I get in, sit up a touch higher, and the sightlines feel cleaner because the glass is more upright and the dash doesn't crowd me. The center screen is big and easy to hit on the move, and Subaru keeps real knobs for climate, so I'm not hunting through menus and traffic. Seats feel built for hours, not minutes, and road noise is kept in check enough that you can talk without raising your voice. Daily driver stuff matters, and this cabin nails the basics without getting precious about it. Space is where I start doing quick math. Behind the second row, the Outback gives you about 34.6 cubic feet. Drop the seats, and you're working with roughly 80.5 cubic feet. That's a legit haul for coolers, strollers, camping bins, or a Costco run that got out of hand. For context, Jeep's Grand Cherokee has a bigger area with the seats up at around 37.7, but only about 70.8 with them folded. Honda's Passport swings the other way, with around 44 behind row 2 and about 83.8 max. So the Subaru splits the difference. Smaller than Honda with the seats up, bigger than Jeep once you go full cargo mode. Bet that mix works for most families. Everyday use is where this thing earns its keep. The rear opening is square, the load floor is friendly, and the second row folds flat enough that you're not playing Tetris with camping gear. Getting kids in and out is easy because the door cutouts are generous. I can toss bikes on the roof, slide a dog crate in the back, and still see out cleanly. No cap. If your week is school runs and your weekend is dirt roads or beach gear, this layout is dialed for real life. Is it worth the price hike? Here's where I land after digging through the specs and the prices. The 2026 Outback costs more to get into now that premium is the starter, but when I line it up against what folks actually shop, the value story still tracks. A Grand Cherokee Laredo with all-wheel drive starts higher, a Passport RTL starts way higher, and neither of them includes Subaru's standard all-wheel drive at a lower price point because there is no lower price point. If you want a roomy two-row with real traction out of the box, and you're trying to keep the payment sane, this Subaru still makes a strong case. No cap, the math helps it. Use case matters. If you're towing a heavy boat, a bigger camper, or you want that V6 muscle for work duty, the Jeep and the Honda carry more rating and more cylinders. They win there, plain and simple. But if your life is mountain bikes, coolers, a dog crate, and weekend trails, the Outback's 3,500-pound tow figure is enough, and the 2.4 turbo's torque hits where daily driving actually happens. Cargo volume plays nicely, too. You get 34.6 cubes behind the second row and about 80.5 with the seats down, which beats the Jeep once you fold everything and gets close to the Honda's max. Add in the square hatch opening and the friendly load floor, and it's built for real errands and real trips. So would I recommend it after this redesign? Yeah. For the crowd that always treated their Outback like an SUV anyway, this is the cleanest fit yet. It finally looks the part. It still brings standard all-wheel drive. The turbo upgrade is worth it if you haul people in gear, and the pricing undercuts the usual suspects. If you need max tow or V6 vibes, look at Jeep or Honda. If you want traction, space, and a payment that won't cook your budget, this Outback is dialed. Bet it'll hit for a lot of buyers.